Greetings everyone, and welcome to the contingency plan. This video is pretty much guaranteed to run some subscribers off. For whatever reason, a lot of people really want nuclear bombs to exist, and even the suggestion that they don't triggers a violent reaction in them, complete with calling you things like dumbass, retard, idiot, and other such terms of endearment. I would be okay with that if I thought that these individuals had done any amount of research on the topic at all, rather than just parroting what they have been told by men. All I ask you to do is watch this entire video and honestly think about the points that are brought up. Believe me, there are a lot more than what I will be talking about here. If you are still 100% convinced that nuclear bombs are a thing, then at least you looked into it and are hopefully being honest with yourself, rather than basing your beliefs simply on what you've been told. I think you owe yourself that much. Most people have probably never given the existence of nukes a second thought. We have been told since we were children to fear nuclear bombs, and the thought of questioning whether or not such a thing was even real has never occurred to us. First, I want to start off talking a little bit about deception, because it appears that many people have no idea how it works. If I wanted to fool you by making a specific claim, but you could go to, let's say, Wikipedia and find that the opposite was actually true, that wouldn't be a very good deception on my part, would it? My point being, if I am making the claim that nuclear bombs do not exist in reality, saying that I am wrong by pointing to a Wikipedia entry about nuclear bombs isn't really evidence. Of course, mainstream media websites are going to play along with the going narrative. You're not going to find evidence that nuclear bombs are make-believe science fiction on MSNBC.com. That's just simply not how deception works. Here now is some information about nuclear bombs for your consideration. One of the main arguments people give for nuclear bombs being real is Hiroshima and Nagasaki. There is overwhelming evidence that both were the result of a massive firebombing campaign and did not have atomic bombs dropped on them. Nothing we were ever told in regards to the aftermath of a nuclear bomb held true for either city. The only structures that were completely destroyed were wooden ones. Structures made of stone, metal, or concrete remain standing. If you compare images of either city to Tokyo, which was admittedly firebombed, the resemblance is uncanny. Same burned down wooden structures with stone, concrete, and metal structures still standing. People will also make the false claim that Hiroshima and Nagasaki had atomic bombs dropped on them, not nuclear bombs. Unfortunately, atomic bombs, as well as hydrogen bombs, are nuclear bombs. So there's that. This is a quote from a reporter that went to Hiroshima to file a report after it was allegedly nuked. Only one of the city's 20 bridges was down. Hiroshima's cluster of modern buildings in the downtown section stood upright. The half-life of uranium-235 is 700 million years, while that of plutonium-239 is a mere 24,000 years. In other words, once on the ground, they will be there for a very long time. So I found this quote as well. Today, the background radiation in Hiroshima and Nagasaki is the same as the average amount of natural radiation present anywhere on Earth. It is not enough to affect human health. So how is the fact that both are thriving cities explained away? The excuse we are given is that all of the radioactive material, wait for it, blew or rained away. I shit you not. In both cases, all of the radioactive material blew or rained away. I'll just leave it at that. Next up, what do you recall being told about a nuclear attack? Do you remember terms like nuclear winter, fallout, bomb shelters, and radioactive half-life? Research the impact a nuclear bomb would have on, let's say, San Francisco today. What you're going to find is that it isn't that big of a deal. Sure, some people near ground zero will die, but overall, not nearly as bad as we were told in the past. No need for a silly bomb shelter. Most of the fallout will drift harmlessly away, and in a few days, at the most, you'll be good to go. Seriously, Google the effects of a nuclear blast on a major US city and see just what information you find. What it basically boils down to is that you'll have one pretty shitty day, then things will improve rather quickly. Remember this scene from Terminator 2? Yeah, turns out it won't be anything at all like that. Could this be because a nuke may be planned for the not-so-distant future, and since it won't be as destructive as we were led to believe, it has to be downplayed now, so that people are expecting less damage and chaos? I mean, they can't make a bomb do damage that it's not capable of. Research it for yourself, and you will see that the immediate as well as lasting effects of a nuclear detonation are now suddenly much less destructive than they used to be. The overall consensus now is that, yeah, it'll suck a little, people will die, but you'll be good to go in a few days. Fist bump. Now this one should really bother you, unless you're so deeply indoctrinated that there's literally nothing anyone can do for you. The first part of this one is that we are to believe that the vast majority of the world still does not have the level of technology that we had in the 1940s. So 70 plus years ago, we were able to do things technology-wise that Japan and virtually every other nation is still not capable of. Okay, so let's suspend reality for a moment and say, sure, we believe that, but it gets much better. To this day, nobody has ever seen an atom. If you read articles asking this question specifically, has anyone ever seen an atom, you will get to the end of the article and still not receive an answer. They will waste several paragraphs defining what seen means, but won't just come right out and directly say that no, nobody has ever seen an atom. But it gets even worse. So we're to believe that in the 1940s, we were able to, quote, split the atom, unquote. Something that to this day, we still have never seen. Yet over 70 years ago, we could somehow split it. The more you say this stuff out loud, the more ridiculous it sounds. It's even worse than that. Splitting the atom refers to splitting the nucleus of an atom, which is smaller than an atom. It's the inside center of something that we've never actually seen. Yet miraculously, we've been able to split one for over 70 years. Apparently with magic. Here's the last point I will touch on so that this video stays relatively short. I assume this looks familiar to most, if not all of you. We've all seen this video hundreds of times over our lives. But have you ever stopped to ask yourself exactly how this was filmed? I mean, what camera can not only withstand a nuclear blast, but it doesn't even flinch? I mean, that thing is just rock solid. There are also some very bad editing in these clips. It seems that in some takes the nuke didn't blow the building apart, so they tried it again. Also, why do the buildings already appear to be on fire on the inside before the blast arrives? Do you want me to let you in on the secret? These are models being blown apart with compressed air and a small explosion. Air is being blown from left to right, while an explosion goes off inside the model and it blows away. Then the speed of the video is altered. Sure, it looked pretty sweet in the 1940s, but come on. These are not full-size structures being decimated by a nuclear explosion. I mean, how is that not a model? This thing looks ridiculous. Give me a break. The concept of nukes is used for fear and control. I mean, look at Hawaii recently. People were literally shoving their kids into storm drains for crying out loud. Are you kidding me? Were you aware that NBC did an exclusive Inside the Bunker where the nuke alert was broadcast from the day before this took place? You can't make this stuff up. There's really nothing more to say on this subject. You can choose to believe in moon landings and nuclear bombs and Peter Pan if that's your thing. My advice is to prepare for bad things to happen. Stock up on food, water, medicine, ammunition, and other items. Learn skills that will keep you alive if the grid goes down. Have a plan of where to meet and how you plan to communicate with one another until you get there. Figure everything out to the best of your ability, but don't worry about surviving a nuclear blast because it's not even a remote possibility. You have a better chance of being kicked in the head by a unicorn. Thank you for watching, and God bless each and every one of you. Peace.